My brothers and sisters, Ramadan and fasting has an effect on some people more than others. Some people come out of this school, we call it a school of Ramadan, this training, a better person in their character, even if they've improved on one or two things. Others come out with less, and then others with nothing. And I'll tell you something, brothers and sisters. From our experience, I can't refer to any particular scientific articles about it, but I have, subhanAllah, I went online and found a plethora of amazing literature and studies that have been done about dry fasting. Dry fasting is what we do, and that is, it means when you don't even drink water. That's called dry fasting. From dawn, from when Fajr first arrives until sunset. It's called dry fasting. I read a plethora of literature, mashallah, and I always encourage my brothers and sisters really to become more scientifically literate. I've seen so many failures online with some of our Muslims go out in the open and they face people who know their science and try to bring verses of the Quran and things about fasting when they haven't really studied it. They don't know really what the scientific approach. And they say it to them, and they face people who know their science, and they get actually, they lose. They think they won. But when I'm listening, I say, man, you really stuffed up there. You got to really review. I wish Muslims can become more scientifically literate, because we live in a world like that today. And if you can't, at least don't try to talk about it unless you know it, or ask. Anyway, lots of literature was done about the emotional and spiritual benefits of fasting. And the ones I go for are the ones that are peer-reviewed. I don't know if you know what that means, peer-reviewed. They're among the strongest, or at least the most trusted, these are the ones that scientists go for, peer-reviewed studies. And there are studies about emotional intelligence, which really got my attention. Emotions, and I will call them also spiritual intelligence if you put your iman with it. And when you go through Ramadan, the experience is, in the beginning, you do feel fatigued. That's because the body is shocked. And so your blood pressure goes down, especially if you're not drinking, especially if it's a hot day. Your blood sugar goes down. And so you do get a headache as a result of lack of glucose, lack of sugar. 2, 3 days, 4 days, your body starts to adapt. When it adapts, things start changing in your body. Your immune system starts to work. And so it starts to develop itself. And when your immune system develops itself, that second stage, you also still feel a little bit of tiredness, but the headache starts to go away, so it's less. In the third stage, your immune system has now begun the attack on your toxins that are inside your body, such as bacteria that's left behind, microbes, even viruses that are left behind, something called cytokines. I don't know if you know what that is, but they are chemicals that your immune system, that is a message with your immune system when it goes to fight off infections in your body, but then they stay there and they become toxic and becomes chronic. The immune system starts to eat those away. And with your fasting, you are starving them as well. So you go through this process where your body starts to adapt. SubhanAllah, by about the last 10 days of Ramadan, your body is so adapted to fasting, your energy levels balance out, and you feel you can do more. Through our experience, we see, and obviously it's different from every person to another, your health situation. When the last 10 days come, what did the Prophet ﷺ say to do? Increase or decrease? Increase. And Allah knows, and His Messenger ﷺ knows, that the body has adapted now, and the energy levels are a little bit better. And so the last 10 nights, get yourself into it. And really do see that happening with us, alhamdulillah. And that's why I think at the end of the 10 nights, our energy levels are better. And so we go back to fighting about the moon sighting. And before Ramadan, our energies are high, we fight about the moon sighting. And then we think, okay, it's depleted, we're tired, we're fatigued. And when you're fatigued, your emotional intelligence is better. Why? If you do it for the right reasons. You start to tame yourself. You know that fight you had with your wife, or with your husband, or with your children, or with your parents, or with your neighbor, or with that person who cut you off on the street, or that person who's not moving and you want to beep your horn and swear at them, or at the shopping center, carts are in front of you. You know, in Ramadan, that's going to increase, especially in the first few days. Especially when the anxiety hits right before Maghrib and you're still out and there's traffic. It's like something's really terribly going to go wrong if you don't make it exactly by Maghrib to have that first bite. Subhanallah. But if you can change that mindset a little bit and prepare yourself from now and say, you know what, see what I do there? I looked at last Ramadan, these are the things I was doing wrong. This time I am not going to lose myself. I am not going to lose my patience if I'm late to an iftar. If my family made me late or whatever, I'm going to take my time. And I'm going to have maybe a bottle of water in my car or a couple of dates. I'll break my fast simply and inshallah eat. And I'm going to tell you something, brothers and sisters. Your emotional intelligence starts getting better and stronger, and you have stronger control over yourself if you can resist and get better while you are fasting. Just like when you shock your muscle, it grows because you got it used to strong resistance, and you get stronger after that. And how proud do you feel about yourself? And same with your character, inshaAllah ta'ala. My brothers and sisters, I go on to the health benefits and then your questions. Now, as you know, my background is science, so I like talking about the scientific aspects. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because we do live in a Western society, and because we're on social media a lot, now there are lots of non-Muslims and people who try to find problems in Islam and Ramadan and fasting and say, you people are crazy, look at you, you fast and you get dehydrated, surely that's bad, this is silly to fast. But then we look and we think, hold on a minute. There are more than nearly 2 billion Muslims around the world. At least 3/4 of them fast every year. And we've been doing it for 1,400 years. Come on. You know, where are the people who are dying of fasting? Where are the people who are getting dehydrated and ending up in the graves? No, we don't hear these things. Alhamdulillah, Muslims are thriving. So it's not fasting, it's other factors. So it's a pretty silly response for someone to say something without thought. So let's have a look at some of the peer-reviewed literature and studies that we found. And I like taking information, if you want, from a place called NCBI, which is the National Center for Biotechnology Information, also from Science Direct, which is a peer-reviewed literature. And I found many articles. One is called Dawn to Dusk, Dry Fasting Decreases Circulating Inflammatory Cytokines, which are pro-inflammations, in subjects with increased body mass index. Body mass index, BMI, is just another word for a measurement of how much fat you have and how much low fat you have that may lead to health problems. And this is peer-reviewed in 2024. So, you know, people are talking about this. You got another one which says the effects of daytime dry fasting on hydration, glucose metabolism, and all of them concluded that there is no harm on a person from any effects of dehydration because of fasting. Every single one of these articles said something good about it, alhamdulillah. And I'll tell you what, this is interesting. Brothers and sisters, if you want to have a good health benefit, follow the Sunnah. Follow the Sunnah. Wallahi, it is amazing, and the literature about it is amazing. Number one, Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told you to spend time in suhoor. And he said something. He said, Inna tasahharu fa inna fi suhoori baraka. Have your suhoor. Suhoor is the time that you eat before what? Before Fajr. Not at 1 a.m., later, before Fajr. And he said, Akhiru suhoor. Delay your suhoor. Some people take it literally. They say, delay my suhoor to the last minute before the adhan. No, he's saying delay as in take your time, wake up earlier, but do it towards the end, like closer to Fajr. And tasahharu. Have a good suhoor. فَإِنَّ فِي السُّحُورِ baraka. In suhoor there is barakah. Now in English we say barakah is what? Blessings. But the meaning of the word literally in Arabic, barakah, means when something yabruk. Yabruk means it lasts, it stays. What stays? In other words, have suhoor, for in suhoor there is a lasting good effect that stays with you. And that is why we say, donate from your wealth, it will have barakah. Earn your wealth in halal, it has barakah. Marry in halal, your marriage will have barakah. What does barakah mean? It means the goodness of it stays and lasts. It doesn't mean Allah gives you more money. It doesn't mean Allah makes you a Superman. No, it means whatever goodness is in it will last. It won't run out very quickly. So in suhoor, it will last. What will last? Your health. In suhoor, but you got to have good suhoor. You got to avoid the oily stuff, the fried stuff. You've got to avoid the sugars, right? Processed food. In suhoor and in iftar. And that's why some people don't find the health benefits or even the spiritual benefits. Because in suhoor, some don't even have suhoor. It kills them in the day. And I'll give you a little hint about nutrition. Experts, you can find this. I don't even need to, don't take me as a reference. You can look it up. It's all over. Expert nutritionists tell you that if you want hydration to retain hydration, water in your system, early in the morning, so we'll say suhoor, drink water with a pinch of Himalayan salt. If you have Himalayan salt, it's like an orange thing. It's better than the table salt, but even table salt, put a little bit on your tongue or put it inside your water, mix it just a little bit and drink with a little bit of salt. It retains hydration as opposed to just drinking normal water. And also electrolytes. So have it, if you don't know what electrolytes, you can have them okay, have a banana, for example. Also have some potatoes, have some eggs. These types of fruit, if you can get your body used to it in suhoor, inshallah, it'll help you. And in iftar, do the opposite. Don't fill your stomach. Don't break it on fast and processed foods. Trust me on this one. And have a little bit. So don't fill your stomach. And Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam did say that my ummah is blessed if they hurry up their iftar. Meaning, don't eat too much. And then go to your salah, pray nicely, even if you're tempted. Look, I'll tell you a little trick. Your feeling of being full, it takes your brain to give that signal completely to your stomach 15 minutes. So if you're able to eat a little bit, and I would recommend that you eat something good and filling before you pray your maghrib. Some people, they eat one date or they have a sip of water and they rush to maghrib. You're not going to be able to concentrate well in your maghrib. Take your time and spend about 5-10 minutes eating and then go and pray maghrib. Most likely in about 15 minutes, you're not going to be as hungry. And if you eat too much and then you've got to have your desserts and you've got to have your mabarfat, have your dessert. I even do it. We're always tempted. But try your best to train yourself not to have too much. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose. Some people, they do that and then after Isha, they go and eat more. That's another good way, but just eat healthy, inshallah, as much as you can. So brothers and sisters, this is the barakah. Finally, the way that your fasting affects your body is that there are these, as I told you, these cells that come out of your immune system. What they do is if they stay long in your body, those cytokines, they become inflammatory. They cause you inflammation inside your body, so toxic. And when you fast, you starve them and they die out. So you actually flush out toxins from your body. The other thing that fasting does for you, there's a cell called macrophages. Have you ever heard of macrophages? So these macrophages, what they do is consider them like a rubbish bag, like the rubbish truck. It comes, it's a big cell, and it attacks bacteria, viruses, and microbes. And literally takes them and throws them out of your body. They stay in your body for a long time. SubhanAllah, it incites them, increases them. Another one that it increases is something called microbiomes. Microbiomes is named for good bacteria in your body. Good bacteria in your body helps regenerate damages in your other cells and in your other organs. And they live very long, so you can't starve them, and they help you against the risk of infection. It also increases the resistance to stress. A lot of us stress a lot, and it's bad for your well-being. Did you know that when you fast, it reduces your stress and it helps you to resist stress? I mean, figure that out. Even when you look at our behavior, if you're hungry, you got no energy or time to bother with little things. There are things that when we've eaten, we start making trouble with and stresses us out. When you're hungry, remember, how many things do we can't be bothered with unless you're satisfied. So there's a resistance to stress, and it also has an antioxidation, meaning it fights oxidized stuff. What is oxidized? They're basically unstable molecules inside your body. Again, let's call them toxins, and they're also called free radicals. They're the stuff that lingers around in your body that does you no good except does you harm, and it leads to cell and tissue damage. And what happens is that when you fast, you have an antioxidation, so it kills them off. And finally, there's something called autophagy, which is basically when you fast, your body recycles itself. The cells die and it recycles them. And when it recycles them, they become more stronger and more immune and better. And that's why you feel yourself revitalized. Now, some people, they say to me, well, you know, I don't feel it that much. That's because you haven't fasted right. Your diet is terrible. In fact, you put on more weight because your diet is terrible. Number two, the Sahabas used to train fasting before Ramadan came so that they can pass the headaches and the fatigue, and the body is already adapted to fasting. So they get the benefit throughout fasting. That's why you feel that they've got more energy than us. And when you finish Ramadan, what did the Prophet ﷺ tell you to do? Try and fast which? Another 6 days of Shawwal quickly. Why does it tell you follow it up quickly? Because your body, number one, is adapted to it already. You have the energy, you can fast it, and take advantage of those rewards, inshaAllah ta'ala. Finally, brothers and sisters, Ramadan and fasting, remember, it is about spirituality. It is about connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's about our worship, about improving ourselves, our character to be better, inshaAllah ta'ala. And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam did say when he climbed the minbar one time, and they heard him say the famous hadith, you all know it, Ameen, Ameen, Ameen. They said to him, Ya Rasulullah, why did you say Ameen 3 times? He said, Jibreel alayhi salam came to me and he made dua for 3 things. Number 1, he said, may his nose be rubbed in dust. In other words, he is truly a loser. Whoever lives to see his parents grow old in age and he's still alive, and still he could not enter paradise because of them. And number 2, a person whom my name is mentioned in front of them and did not say sallallahu alayhi wasallam or peace be upon him, meaning who am I to them. And number 3, a person who enters into Ramadan and Ramadan finishes and they come out the other side and still their sins have not been forgiven. So that's a great loser who gets to there. My brothers and sisters, I think inshaAllah all of you and all of us will have that opportunity, and we're all alhamdulillah on the right path, and we anticipate to reap the benefits of Ramadan. هذا وصلى الله على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين.